Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Prog Report podcast interview. This is Roy. My guest on this episode is an amazing guitar player, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, who you know from his work with Guns N' Roses, Sons of Apollo, and now with the band Whom Gods Destroy. Their debut album, Insanium, comes out on March 15th. We talk about how the band came together, the brand new album, and a whole lot more. But before we get started, just a reminder to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow us where you get podcasts, on all our socials, and on progreport.com. And now my chat with Ron Bumblefoot Thal.
Good to see you.
Hey, doing, man? You look tired. Recovering from the cruise?
Yeah, the cruise was good. Well, I
We
hope
start
people
the
like
interview
it.
officially now, but
Okay.
uh, uh, new album, debut album from Whom Gods Destroy Insanium, comes out on March 15th. On Inside Out. Obviously, I'm a big fan of yours. I'm a big fan of the guys that were in Sons of Apollo, Derek and Mike and everybody. And but with this new band, again, it's the quality of music that you're able to put with this new band, Whom Gods Destroy, is spectacular. And I think the album is just awesome. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess we should start sort of in the beginning. I mean, obviously, most people, if they know about this band, they know about Sons of Apollo, and I think it's safe to assume it came out of that in whatever way it did. But talk about that a little bit and how your writing relationship with Derek sort of evolved into making this new band. I mean, when did that decision come about to like, okay, let's make this now?
Well, it was right after we were doing the 2020 European tour. We got about 4 shows in, and then the world shut down.
That's right. Yeah. You guys were the
And
first ones to say, "Hey, we're going home. This is bad." Yeah, I remember.
yeah, and I remember at the time, I remember there were some promoters that were like, "We're gonna sue the shit out of you. There's not even any cases here. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. This is all nothing." And like a week later, their country is shut down. It's like, can we reschedule maybe? Yeah. One thing that I'm bummed about is that like the next 2 shows we were about to do, and I really wanted to hold out to do them. We were gonna do Kiev and then Moscow.
Oh,
I
wow.
don't think those two are gonna be back-to-back shows anytime soon.
Anytime soon. Yeah. Wow. What a
Yeah,
bummer.
that I would have loved to, because every time I was supposed to play in the Ukraine, something fucked up where I couldn't, and I was like, finally, and I have friends there, and like I was so looking forward to that, and
Hmm.
yeah, but life happens, and yeah, just makes you realize go to a show when you can, while you can, because it may be the last show you get to see.
You're not
So
kidding.
yeah,
Yeah. There's been bands that I've missed that sadly a member died or something, and then that's it. You know, it
yeah,
happens.
you
It's
don't know.
yeah.
Yeah, anything can happen. Anything. So if you get a chance to see a band you want to see, don't say, "I'll wait till next time." Go see them because they may not be in next time. Uh, I've been through that too. I never got to see Rush live, like one of my
No
favorite
kidding.
bands.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because every time I was like, "Oh, I got to do this, I got to do this," and yeah.
Yeah. I always wanted to
So
see Tom Petty. And then he came around and couldn't make it to that one, and then I think he passed away like a few months after that. Yeah, so that was
yeah,
a bummer.
yeah. So yes, it
Back
was
to the band.
2020, and Derek and I and Jeff, we really wanted to use that time to make a third Sons of Apollo album. It wasn't going to happen, and I was still holding out. I was like, well, let's keep writing, and who knows, maybe this will end up being the third album. Of course, in the end, that didn't happen, but we just kept writing as we would if this was going to be the third album, the same way we wrote for everything, where he and I would write parts, send them to each other, expand on each other's parts, expand on our own, and they would just develop into songs as we just went back and forth. And it was always just Derek and I doing all the music. And then started talking to Dino, started working with Dino, and then Yaz came on board, and everyone was sort of connected anyway. I mean, Dino did something with Yaz before we were officially official. Bruno being in Angra, and who is our, bass player for our final shows that Sons of Apollo did, is Felipe. from Angra.
Right.
And I also did a song, one of my solo songs that we did a vocal version of, just a little YouTube video of like a 1 minute segment of an instrumental song, which was Dino and Felipe both on there. Like everybody's doing something with everyone. We're all on each other's radar and doing little things together, and it became a band. And that's it. We just kept on writing all through to the 11th hour and just tweaking and writing and adjusting and I was mixing everything and mastering and this and I'm about to hand in the album to the label and Bruno hits me up. Can you make my ghost notes a little bit louder on the snare for the entire album? Like go back and just all the little stuff you do with an album, and it's
Right.
really those final things that you do that really are the cherry on top of it all. It's
Yeah.
like the album is good, but those subtle little details that everyone gets into in those final moments when it's about to get handed in, that's the stuff that really puts the best polish on it, that makes the difference that we can live with.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we spend the rest of our lives, oh, if only those snare hits were louder, kind of things.
Well,
And I have albums like that,
well,
things
speaking
where
of,
I listen.
Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy probably was the, how long did that take?
Well, when I joined the band, right after the first tour, I was in the studio laying tracks and in between legs doing it, and 2 years later, it was out.
Oh, so you
So
got the short end.
for me, yeah, yeah,
Right.
for me, it was
Um,
almost normal.
yeah,
Like
exactly.
from
So,
the part, yeah, where I started with it. Yeah.
right. One of the things with this album, I mean, it's hard to escape it because the way you play is so distinctive, and Derek's sounds are so distinctive. You know right away it's his sound. So it's impossible to avoid, hey, there's some stuff here that sounds like Sons of Apollo, or really any of the stuff that you guys sort of do. But
Yeah.
to me, I feel like Sons of Apollo is always writing a balance of it was a little bit prog, it was a little bit metal, it was sometimes a little bit classic rock, sort of mixed in there. I feel like this album maybe is a bit more focused in what it's trying to be throughout. I mean, do you sort of feel that? Is that what you were trying to do, or am I reading too much into it?
There, usually when you make an album, you're not trying, you're just writing, and in the end, you look at it and say, "Oh, that's what it is." Okay.
Hmm.
And if it's focused, it's just because everyone's heads were just staying in the lane and not really venturing out. Yeah, we did what we've been doing for 7 years now, which is we just write what we write, whatever we're feeling, we send it to each other, and Derek puts his keyboards on it, and I put my guitars on it, and it ends up just, it's going to sound like Sons of Apollo because it's the same two people that wrote
Right.
the music.
Yeah.
So that part of it is going to be that way. I did want to interject a little more heaviness, and I always did. Most of the time I got stomped on and it didn't happen with Sons of Apollo. But I did want to push the limits a little bit more and just be more intense.
Yeah.
For me, Sons of Apollo was a little bit, for me, just not intense enough. Like I felt like we could be, if it was working out, we could be getting our heart rate up a little bit more. We
Right.
could be pushing ourselves harder. And I always felt like Sons of Apollo, we didn't push ourselves to the maximum. And I wanted to get a little closer to that with this. So I did.
Yeah. I feel like
And
that comes out. Yeah.
yeah, and also having Bruno and Yaz and Dino, yeah, they bring a whole other thing to it. Yeah, so their personality, their energy is in there, and that's going to flavor it up differently. You have 5 different spices in there where only 2 of the spices are the same. So we're going to sound 40% Suns and 60% something brand new.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much, I think, how it is. And if there's anything in the future where we're writing all together and doing it, it'll sound even more fresh and new. Because this album, it really started with just Derek and me.
Right.
And the next album would be all of us. So everyone bringing their ideas to, start a song. It's not just playing on a song that's already kind of there. It's building a song from the ground up. And when all five people are doing that, it's going to take it in a whole other place than it does when it's just me and Derek. So
Yeah,
we'll see what
and it has
happens
to be
with that.
amazing working with a guy like Dino because I mean, for such a young guy to be as well, I mean, well known and appreciated in these circles, and I mean, I only found out about him a few years ago, and it seems like everybody knows who he is and thinks he's like one of the best singers on the planet. Uh,
Yeah, he's got an undeniable voice. Yeah,
Yeah, because you don't hear
yeah.
guys. He's one of those throwback guys from like, almost like the 80s or something that were like, and you don't hear singers like that anymore. And I think
He
it's
has
awesome.
the blues. Yeah, he has the grit and the soul, but he can also just belt and just, just he could pretty much do everything.
Yeah.
So,
Did he write the lyrics or was that you guys too?
I wrote some the song Over Again. Before we had a singer, it was just the two of us writing,
Hmm.
just me and Derek, and I wrote the chorus lyrics and the chorus to that before Dino joined. He tweaked them a bit, and every once in a while, Dino would hit me up and say, "What do you think of these words?" and give a little tweak. But 99% is Dino, and it should be. To me, the singer should be. They should be saying what's from them.
Yeah.
That's the best way. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Um, the first single that came out, In the Name of War, has gotten just a great response. I mean, the video's doing really well. People seem to really dig it. And you got to do a video where you guys were all in the same room. So, I mean, what was that like? Because, you know, a lot of, I mean, it's maybe starting to come back a little bit more, but there was a long period there where every video was just
Those
lyric
squares.
videos or the squares or people, right, or fake green
Yeah.
screen or something like that. And to me, I think that's seeing a band perform live like that's everything. I think that's really sells it. That makes people think it's a real band. So how important was that, and what was that
It's
like actually filming?
it's real sex versus cyber sex.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, you had to have that. We had to be in the room where we're taking photos, we're doing videos, we're just hanging out, and yeah, absolutely. So that was good. It was a challenge. We had the schedule of when we were doing all of this, and then Dino got like an eye infection. Like he had like this, his eye was like swollen up.
oh no,
And it was so noticeable, like there was no hiding it. Either he's gonna wear a eye patch or just everything's gonna be a profile, or we're gonna not do it. So we delayed shooting and I changed my flights and
oh
we
wow,
waited until the day before Dino was gonna leave. He was in town for a week and hoping that by the end of that week it would be okay. And we had to change our the room that we were shooting in. We had a nice location and went to this other kind of 70s banquet hall looking place and, and shot there. We just had to do what we can with last minute changes and get it done and we got it done. But yeah,
hey,
that is how it is when you have five people traveling and you have so many moving parts between the director and the location and the
yeah,
schedules
it's hard.
and
You can't to
everything.
just reschedule everything at the last minute. It's the challenge. I mean, that's
That's
it's
yeah.
not always so easy.
So we pulled it off. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a few amazing moments on the album that I really like. I mean, I know you have the new single out, Over Again, that just came out, and I'm sure you got some other stuff coming. But I want to talk about well, there's an instrumental, Hypernova. Um, there's a number to it. I forget.
158.
That's right. Man, that's insane. It's
So
maybe the shortest track on the album, but it's bonkers. I mean, it's really like there's some stuff towards the end of that is mind blowing.
what happened was the album at the time was too short. We needed more music. And I was like, fuck it, I'm writing an instrumental. I just busted it out and I pretty much just wrote it. And yeah, and then I was like, all right, what are we going to call this thing? And Derek said, Hypernova. It's like, okay.
That's good.
And the tempo is 158 beats per minute. It's like, you know what?
Yeah.
Hypernova 158. There we go. Good. Done. Uh, so yeah, I just started off with that riff, and then Derek copied it on the keys, building it up, just adding layers to it of little melodies and stuff, the break, and and just adding all the stuff to it, just arranging it, and then that whole after section.
Right.
So
So
where it goes into that
that
bomb, boom,
drum
but
beat,
it
it's
feels
like a
like
sway,
you know,
right? It's
you know,
like up
shotgun,
and
like,
down. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. What
So was that drum beat? Is
interesting?
that you writing that on a keyboard, and then this guy has to figure out how to play it?
I wrote it on guitar, and then just by feel, boom, 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 and then said, okay, what the hell am I doing? And figured it out, wrote out the drum part, and just went to Bruno. I was like, I'm sorry. Uh, what's your thoughts on this? And he's like, oh God, what are you doing? So here's what's interesting for all the, you know, all the any of the music geeks like us watching this. So the tempo 158, you know, and it's in four most of the song, you know. At the end, it's still, even though it feels like it slows down and it's getting faster and slower, it's actually staying at the same tempo, and it goes into 5/4 and groups it as 5/16 notes four times instead of the normal 4/16 notes that would be five times. So instead of going one E and a two E and a three E and a four E and a five E and a one E and a two E and three, it's going one E and a and this becomes the new tempo. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
so it feels like the tempo has changed. But if you listen to what his hand is doing, and that's the trick to all of the stuff on this album, is that the bottom is off. But if you listen to the top, that's what's keeping it steady. So he's hitting, at one point you hear him going boom, 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 while we're going boom, 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 boom. And the hand is the
Oh, that's
anchor
cool.
of it
Yeah.
all. And there's a lot of that goes on in the music on this album, like things where it's like, where the fuck is the one? And listen for the right hand, you'll find it. And
Okay. Cool.
that and vocals, like the vocals tend to keep steady while the riffs of the music are off. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's
That's a lot of
almost
fun.
like an upside down cake kind of thing.
Love that. That's amazing. Also, there's just the best ballad kind of song on there, "Find My Way Home," which is maybe one of my favorite songs on the record. I think it's a fantastic song. It's so powerful and emotional, and Dino sings it sort of in a different register for him compared to some of the other stuff, and it's just awesome. That's such a great tune. Tell me about that one. Who wrote that one?
Yeah. That was Derek. You know, tapping into the Led Zeppelin inspirations, the intro and everything, and then we just took it from there. Vocally, Dino just did his thing, and Yaz, if you notice in the background, he's doing really nice fretless bass stuff in there. It's kind of subtle, but it's yeah, really nice things he's doing throughout.
Yeah.
And yeah, that one we just came together, and say the
I don't know,
melodies,
man. I think
Dino.
that's
And
a sleeper hit to me. I don't know what's a
I
hit these
agree.
days, but I don't, I feel like that's one that could do
Yeah,
something.
that's the lighter song. That's the
Yeah,
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 and
that's awesome.
it's a nice one. I'm thinking that
Um,
if we play live, we could definitely
yeah,
extend the end and just make it, yeah.
yeah, awesome, man. It's been a fun album to listen to. I have to tell you, I really think it's just fun. That's the way I would describe it. It's really cool. The songs
Oh,
are great.
good.
They have energy. Um, you mentioned live, so what are we looking at possibly? Is that something you guys are talking about? Is there, you know, a
Well, we've
future
of
to
course,
maybe do something?
yeah, we've talked about it, and it's just, wrangling the kittens and getting us all together to make it happen. This year is tricky because a lot of people have things already planned, and it's tough to put out a debut album early in the year because promoters, before they want to take a chance on it, they want to see what it is, what it does, and so the album would come out. Promoters would look at the reaction to it and say, "Okay, yeah, I think I want to invest in this. I want to book these guys, bring them out." And it wouldn't be for 6 months. So if this was a second album, promoters would know what they're getting, and they would say, "Oh, great, they're putting out an album. Cool. Let's book them for when the album comes out, and that would be fine." But as a first one, yeah. So probably if we do anything, it'll be toward the end of the year to start, and hopefully next year we can fill up and do a lot. It's the same thing with Art of Anarchy with Jeff, because Sons of Apollo split into two bands. Basically, is what happened.
Yeah,
Is you have Gods Destroy with Derek, and then Art of Anarchy with Jeff Scott Soto, singer of Art of Anarchy. I mean, well, singer of Art of Anarchy, but singer
well,
of
he
Sons
is,
of
but
Apollo,
Sons of
that became
Apollo,
the singer of Art of Anarchy.
right?
And yeah, and both bands are just worked out where we're putting out singles and the album at the same time. And I didn't think it would be as difficult to juggle and just manage as it's been. It's been like getting two colonoscopies at the same time. It's, yeah.
It's tough. It's
So,
well, listen, one band is tough. Two at the same time is, I imagine, impossible.
yeah, plus
Um,
I have a solo album that I've kind of shelved to get these things going, and I need to get that out and that done, just crazy instrumental shit. So I have a solo album that will be coming out after these two albums come out. I'll just put my thing on, press pause on that to get everything done for these.
right.
So, and yeah, I've been
You're busy. You're
transcribing,
busy, busy.
yeah, and been producing bands. There's this wonderful band, this garage rock duo called the Doties that are putting out their third album that I recorded last year, and that's going to be coming out and great stuff. Such an interesting band. They have this sort of 90s Nirvana, Radiohead musicality about them, and they're just fucking great. Yeah.
Are you still doing the sauce, the hot sauce?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's another thing. I've really neglected my own things so much, my own album and the hot sauces. I wanted to have another flavor out, and but yeah, the hot sauces are still going, still doing them. Yes,
That's fun.
Bumblefoot's
That's
hot
cool. And
sauce. We
I
got,
mean, and it's been a while since you did a solo record, right?
yeah, yeah. I did. The last one was Little Brother is Watching in 2015.
Yeah.
2015 it came out along with Art of Anarchy's first album, and then did Art of Anarchy's second album 2017 as Sons of Apollo began, and that came out later that year, and then spent all 2018 touring, 2019 making the next album, and then 2020, and here we are.
Yeah.
So time just flew by, and I've put out two, produced two Doty's albums, and just a lot of other musical stuff. Did two Bumblefoot music camps in Ireland. Those were a blast. So just a full-blown music camp, and want to get back to doing those as well. So yeah,
You had those
definitely.
covers. You had those covers EPs that you put out also that I
Oh
remember.
yeah, I
And
forgot
those were
about
great. I
those.
love those. Those are
Thanks.
fun.
Yeah, so I did a couple of acoustic albums, and oh, and there was uh, fronting the band Asia in
Right.
2019 as well.
That was
So
amazing. Yeah, that was a left turn out of nowhere, but that was so fun.
yeah, I look back on it all. I'm like, what? Like, it just makes no sense.
And that
Like
was
just
pre
looking
that was
at,
pre-pandemic, right? That was like when was
yeah, it was
2018 maybe?
2019. It was right before it. It
2019?
was the
Right
summer of
before.
2019. But to go
Wow.
from like the guitarist of Guns N' Roses to playing in prog metal band to fronting, singing, everything, Asia, to like it just, these are things that would not go together.
No.
Ah,
A real
life is
Renaissance
fucking
man.
weird.
Yeah.
Life is weird.
Life is weird. Well, I'm glad everything's going well for you, man. I hope it continues to go well. I really hope people dig the Whom Gods Destroy album, that they check it out, and it does well enough. We can get a second record and a tour, and keep this thing going. I think it's phenomenal. And
Thank you so much.
yeah, man, congrats. So, all right, we'll talk again soon, man. I'll see you on the road at some point.
Yes, thank you so much for everything.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us wherever you get your podcast. Check us out on all our socials and on progreport.com for all your news, interviews, reviews, and more. And we'll see you again real soon. Thanks.